Okay, so we are back with another episode of Biz Mindz, and on this episode we have Veljko joining us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
I'm grateful for your friendship and always here to collaborate.
Of course, and for those of for people that don't know, Veljko is the owner founder of Sales Restaurant and Butcher Private. Sales Restaurant, best brunch in the country, fair to say. I want this episode to be, not only informative but engaging to people that don't know your story. And first, I want to start with asking you where are you from and how you made your way to the States.
That's very good. Originally from small country of Montenegro, grew up in Serbia, in Naples since 1997. I was a high school student in Naples High, so now I'm not 27. 7 years ago, I was in Naples High.
And at 17, you came to the States?
17.
What, did you come with family?
All by myself.
By yourself?
Yes, there was a host family at a house in Golden Gate, and I lived with them.
Okay. Why the move? I know you have family in Naples, but why the move from Montenegro to?
So I was one of those kids with the big dreams. So growing up every summer, I spent with my grandma in Montenegro, and there was a marina close by. So I would look at the sailboats, and I would always think about where are they going next. Is it Italy? Is it France? Is it Spain? Or it's a new world? And watching American movies, as you know, I always loved that. I had these dreams to come in United States and experience US.
Mm-hmm. And did you think that from a very young age?
From a very young age.
Very young age?
Yes, I would say 6, 7 years old.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because you want better surroundings, a better life? Because I think that maybe people that are, let's flip it and say that people that are born here in the States, let's say Naples, do you think they have that same thought process, or they're content with where they are? They see the kind of subconsciously the opportunity is there to achieve goals, right, in this country. Do you think you realized that early on, that maybe it's a better life somewhere else, or why that thought process?
So, quite interesting question. So originally, if you think at 1987, 1988, 1989, that was a very good economical time in Serbia and Montenegro. So my family was doing well, and I didn't really have a need to think of anything economical or change the environment. I just always loved American movies, and I was always thinking that living in US is something special. And then in that whole of the decade, a lot of changes happened in Serbia. So if you think about all the wars that happened, Bosnia, Croatia, Kosovo, southern part of Serbia, all of that happened in those 6 or 7 years, and economy became quite challenged. Mm-hmm. You asked me a question about someone that's here versus someone that's from outside. This is the greatest country in the world. There's more opportunities here than anywhere else in the world. So we're so lucky, all of us, that we're here. I think it's not easy to see opportunities if they're everywhere around you. So I'm just, I think I was just very lucky and blessed that I had first environment that I was in, that was always business focused. But then I was very lucky that I came here at a young age, and I saw so many opportunities.
Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts when you came to Naples 27 years ago? You're 17 years old. What are you thinking? You're finishing up high school around that age. What's the thought process on what you're going to be doing after high school, and then what did you do once you graduated high school?
So the first thing I remember is landing at the airport to Miami, and the family picked me up in a Cadillac. For me, that was wow. I always love cars.
Your family?
No.
A host family.
Yes, host family here. Yes, picked me up, and I was blown away. And then the first day I started in a school, Naples High. Just think about Montenegro, Serbia versus Naples High School. Everything super organized, plus huge high school. So I came from a high school because over there we have high schools are split up. So you have tech involved high school, you have economics, you have a trade high school, and my high school was math and languages. And then we were split in one group, which is math, and that was about 90 of us. So you think that school is so much smaller than what we have here.
Wow.
Yes, so it's 90. So you know everyone. And so coming from that environment, and then arriving here in Naples High, that was huge. And a big challenge was I studied English, so I could understand mostly, but no one would understand me. So first 3 or 4 months, that was quite challenging.
Yeah.
But luckily, they figured out that my that my math knowledge is quite high. So I was placed right away into calculus, and in that class, calculus, I just loved that. I crushed that. That was a BPA. Yeah.
Did you go to college?
So yes. So after that year, I went back and studied in Serbia, and then as soon as I had next opportunity, I transferred my credits and studied in the U.S.
Let me take it back a little bit. Before we started recording, I asked you a question in the other office, and I said, "Do you come from money?" And you said, "Or no money?" And you said both. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage?
So I come from an instability. 1992. I remember like it was yesterday. I was going to school, and there were lines in front of the grocery stores in Serbia where people were waiting for the bread or milk, and all the stores were empty. Luckily, in that moment, my family was still, well off. But then economy started changing so much that a lot of these companies and businesses, like my dad's, they were not flexible. Lost a lot of funding, and inflation is the best way to tax the middle class.
What business was your dad in?
So my dad was in construction.
Construction.
So he originally started. He was the CEO of the company. That he started his own company, 1987, because around that time capitalism was introduced, and it was going from communism into socialism and a little bit of the capitalism. So that's when he started his own company. On the other side, my mom was the CEO of a textile company. So she ran one company.
Was your first job out of high school, or was it before like during high school?
So I remember one of my first jobs on the construction site. My dad gave me a project. I was maybe 5-6 years old, of a magnet and a bucket. If you think of any construction site, if you have nails and trucks, that's very, very expensive. So there's always someone who is picking up nails, and I was getting paid per bucket. So that was the first job. Then eventually, I always had some ideas how I can make some money, because I always loved making money and saving. And then I started lending money first to my sisters. So agreement was, like you pay me back in a month double. By the age of 7, I was lending money out.
At 100% return.
I always 100%. I never ask. The question. What about this and that? I wanna find out how fast I can get my principal and how fast I can double. Mm-hmm. That was always my question: how fast I can double.
Right.
Was it hard to open sales as your first? Was that your first restaurant?
Yes. So sales is the first restaurant that we opened. So many businesses, so many ideas from an early age, 5, 7, from collecting, walnuts and selling walnuts to chopping the wood for my family, and then getting paid. So many other ideas until sales restaurant. So if I look back, I was thinking I made so many mistakes in the businesses, but all of those mistakes were the scars on the brain that actually help us get sales where it is. Without that, like for such a major part of my life, I would say good 25 years. I have so many things that I don't do well, so many things that maybe I'm not the best at, so many mistakes I have done. And when I look back now, everything was with a reason.
Mm-hmm. Sales is your 7th business?
Yes, sales was the business number 7.
Sales is 7.
Yeah.
And the other businesses prior to sales was different in different industries, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't food related.
Was not.
So we talk about this sometimes, about how a business is a vehicle that you decide to get into, and every vehicle is very, very different. Some vehicles are more equipped, or it can run smoother compared to another vehicle, unless you go into that vehicle with a certain way, backing to buy you that time, that cash flow. From the 7 businesses, would you say that the food industry is the most, or one of the most difficult vehicles that somebody can get into?
Quite challenging, especially in a luxury segment of the restaurants, because so many moving parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because...
And in the same time, I'm so lucky and grateful that I got into that sector, because now I understand it, and it's really my highest level of use of the talents and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So you just challenging vehicle, assembling really challenging, starting it, the most challenging thing I have ever done. In the first year, more scars on my brain than anyone can ever imagine. And as you know me, I'm super positive, but it would be a lot starting off sales and then just getting it where it should be, so it's humming, and then what happened 2020 with Corona, and then hurricanes and so many other things.
Yeah,
right.
You own a couple of the top restaurants in the nation. In one word, how would you define the food industry? How does Veljko sees the food industry? What's the key behind the food industry to have success?
Dream team.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Dream team. That's a number 1. Number 2 is the best guest. So what happened with the sales restaurant, we were flying, and we were changing the engines, fixing the wings, and doing everything as we went. But number 1 key component is that in Naples we had the best guest in the world. Without that component, the engine would fail. There would be no fuel. Mm-hmm. And while we had the best guest in the world, we managed to learn better about how to build a culture. We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about, with the clarity, how to bring into life higher level of service, which we call impeccable service now, and product excellence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that why the first year was difficult? Is because you said dream team, so getting that team together, or building that culture for everybody to understand that the bar is this high, right? Is that why that first year was difficult?
Originally, you start the business, you open the doors. There's so many challenges. First to assemble it, then construction, then a fire marshal, then Valentine's Day 2018 was our first day of opening. In that moment, we had about 2 weeks of funding. If we have not received the CEO and approval from the fire marshal, sales would never happen. So getting into from that comfortable spot that we were in, we had funds, investment houses in a Naples park. We were renting out. We were, living really nice. All of a sudden, you come into the point that you took, I took my net worth, Corinne's net worth, and we put everything on a red. And you invest so much that in that one moment you're opening, and if we have not received a CEO, everything will fail. And then that brings us into your question. On the first day of the opening, my expectations are that high, and no one else can see it. No one else in the team can see or visualize what needs to happen. That's a big challenge.
How did you handle that?
Let's say it would be interesting to interview Corinne and share with us how she saw me, because there's multiple, the time that she wanted to actually leave. Because with me, I didn't want to let this thing fail. Over my dying was an option, failing was not. And many individuals around me saw me, including her, as the bad person, because I was just pushing and giving everything
To be better.
every single day and make sure that we don't fail.
Well, isn't that supposed to happen every time that you're leading something, you're growing? Not everybody's gonna like you, right? But even people around you, which to me, when I've done things to lead or grow, it probably affects you at the beginning, but not anymore as you get used to it. What do you think?
Really good point. What I see now, because I always look back, if I would meet a 17, 15, maybe year-old version, younger version of myself, what would I advise myself? And a number one I would advise myself is, if you're making a startup, you're starting from the bare nothing. And that's when you have to put so much effort into building the pieces. Now, sales, restaurant, everything what we have is more like a castle that has a moat. So that moat, we choose when we bring the gates down and when we invite somebody in. That's with our recruiting, not hiring, interview process, everything else. So it's important to have around you individuals that see things the way that you see it. Because everyone else, they're also good people, but they maybe don't see the things the way you do. Right. And if they don't, that's causing friction.
Yeah. Was this your first business with Corinne?
Yes.
Together?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's in hospitality and food. So did that bring your level of communication together as a couple to another level, because you have to?
Well, yes, we've grown. There was a high probability that everything could have failed, and our relationship and investment and everything. So now I understand why no one would invest into the restaurants. So probability of the failure super high. If I would look back now, a decade later, so we started working on this idea at 2014, and if those two kids would ask me now to fund them or lend them any money, I would say no.
if they wanted to open
Yes.
a restaurant?
Yes, that same idea, sales restaurant, same everything. I would say no. I mean, with the platform that we have now, if they would be a part of the platform, I would say yes. But just looking at the business plan and looking at how much funding they have had and what was the background, just the chance of failure too high.
And
What would I advise them? I would say good stories and good ideas. How about we buy a restaurant here locally? So we buy real estate. I'm going to buy real estate. He's going to come, to business, and then let's find a structure of how much percentage you keep and how much percentage of that business we keep. And I give you infrastructure, give you recruiting, we give you accounting, we give you HR, we give you everything else. So you do only those things that you can do. Because building out everything else, that was so challenging.
Yeah.
That's really what adds into stability. So we got into uncharted waters. We knew that it's going to be difficult, but we did not know it's going to be that difficult.
you and Corinne were living prior to you were
Traveling worldwide.
prior to opening sales. And so why make the decision? Why open up a restaurant if what you were currently doing was working for you? You were living a good life. Why choose a restaurant, and why the type of restaurant that you chose? Because you didn't just go for any restaurant, any location. You're right on 5th and 3rd. First,
top.
Yeah. So
Top restaurant, top location, top concept, top everything.
whose idea was it initially? Was it?
So what we did, two of us, we agreed that both of us, we always spoke about the business. We travel. We got along so good, and we said we should have business that two of us are working on. We knew that it's going to make our relationship better. Then we made a list of about 300 businesses, and out of the 300 something businesses, we scratched off, and then we stayed with the idea of the gym and the restaurant.
Gym and restaurant. Okay.
So we liked both of those ideas, and with my background, I felt that our chance of success in the restaurant with my knowledge would be easier and better. I did not know much about the personalized gym, personal training, and all of these things. And along the way, sometime I wished back that we went with the gym.
Really?
less
Can't see you as a personal
logistics.
trainer.
Less logistics. A lot less
A
logistics.
lot less.
I think I had to mention that we were at brunch one time, and I was with my parents, and my mom, were looking around after being at brunch multiple times, prior. And we're always like, it's a different experience every time. It's always a great experience, but if you're really paying attention, you can pick up on the level of attention to detail during that brunch. And my mom was looking around, and then she started like getting a little emotional because, we were in the food industry prior, and she knows she was just so proud of like how you and Corinne, and of course the rest of the team, but how the level that you guys got to of being able to get that many people on the same page and believe in the same vision and give that type of attention to guests, right? I think that is something that's so difficult to do. I think in any business, in any industry, but especially in the food industry, because you really have to believe that the business is going a certain direction, right? The team has to really be engaged and believe in the vision and that they're not just clocking in and clocking out. because that much care takes more than just let me punch in and punch out. So yeah, she started getting like emotional. I'm like, what's going on? And she just started saying like, wow, it's
Everyone's so engaged.
yes, it's just an amazing thing to see how this runs so perfectly, right? And of course, I'm sure on the back end there's things that go on, but you guys make everything seem like it's going just, at least to the guest experience, like everything is just flowing really, really
In the
nice.
last 2 years, we really managed to, you know, if you work in a restaurant, you know that there is always the back of the house or challenges, or everyone is freaking out, they're running out of the flatware and the plates and the glasses in the middle of service. We really, last 2 years, we don't have that.
Yeah, because you have a
Everything
system
in
already.
operation systemized.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what responsibility is, and then everything is rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed.
Yeah.
It's steps of service for everything.
they can be having a bad day or a personal problem, but you would never notice because they're always on point.
Yeah.
High level training is the number one thing that's really, really essential, because what happens also is in a top level restaurants, like their Michelin star, they would train everyone as an actors.
Like
So
the
that-
movie we showed you.
Yeah, so that everyone that's in the team, they feel as they have a role. Because when you have a role, you get more confident. What we do, we don't do that. What we do, so Montenegro and Serbia, we're Orthodox Christian, and every household has a saint. Saint's Day is the biggest day of the year. Christmas is big, Easter is big, all the holidays are big, but the Saint's Day, Slava, we call it Slava, is the biggest day. So in the first year, I had such a hard time to get everyone on the same page and to see things. And then it just hit me. I started thinking about what is the one thing in common that we have that I can easily explain. And that's Slava. And about half of the team back then was from Serbia. So I explain everyone what we're gonna do now. We're celebrating Slava every day. So when someone is coming, you're not working in a restaurant. You're here. This is your house, and you're celebrating Slava, which is the Saint's Day, and that really changed everything because that's really how I feel. And on Slava, like everyone is asking me why I never sit down in the restaurant like at sales. I never sit down. There's been 5 times that I had actually sat down with someone and had dinner at sales, is because one of these most important things with Slava is that you never sit down. Your job is to serve your guest. Also, another interesting thing about Slava is that you invite the guest or a family member or a friend only once, and they're invited forever. So we celebrate Slava at sales every day.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, and then if you look at the sales and you look at the logo and you dig in a little bit deeper, you can learn that Saint Nicholas was the protector of the sailors. Saint Nicholas is my family Slava, or my family saint. So that's one of the big reasons why we created such a high level of results, is because Saint Nicholas has been protecting us.
Is that why you named the restaurant Sales?
One of the reasons. That's on my side. On Corinne's side, the reason why she named it Sales is because she grew up in the Sydney Harbor, and her father is one of the founding members of the Sydney Yacht Squadron. So she grew up around sailing, young age. With me, I was always mesmerized with these sailboats that are sailing out of, Marina in Montenegro, and I was always wondering where they're going next. That's so exciting. Is it Italy? Is it France? Or is it the New World? And also, I want to ask you, what is the one tool of humanity that managed to harness the power of the wind and find the new worlds?
Sail?
Sails?
Yeah, it's a great name by far. But I want to ask you something regarding business, and it's a little bit of a loaded question, but I think everybody has a different opinion around it. But I hear that some people say sales restaurant, everyone has a different opinion. Sales restaurant isn't a restaurant, it's hospitality. They do hospitality first, and I think it's a bunch of things that you guys are doing right, not just pinpointing it to one, but kind of piggybacking off of that. What would you say what does it take to be successful in business? What is it? Is it the type of business you decide to go into? Because majority of businesses, the stats are always stacked against the business for it to be successful. So what does it really take for a business to be successful, or a person that wants to go into business to be successful?
I share with all the youngsters when they ask me, I share always two most important things in life is who you marry and what sector of industry you choose you're going to be in. So in the business, so important who is next to you, who you married, and what sector you chose. Now in this sector, we see all the other sectors. So now I better understand what does it take in so many sectors make a GP 40%, 50%, 60%. Mm-hmm. So with this mindset and this knowledge I have, I would have chosen some other sectors.
Apart from the food industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would not really, if anyone would advise me, I would not go in the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. If anyone is interested, I would only go in a luxury segment. And why is luxury segment? Because of who are the guests. Mm-hmm. Which brings us on another topic is growing up, I was always thinking and I was brought up that, money is evil, money is bad, the people that are rich are bad and things. And let me tell you, 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. Just think about to build a business.
Do you feel that serving people with more money is more pressure than just serving just middle class?
No, I think...
Because they expect more from you?
I love serving the guests that have a higher level of expectations. The ones who have seen more, who have more clarity. That's actually the best because it makes you better.
That's true.
That really what helps our business tremendously. Remember so many. No one knows this first 2 years in a season. We didn't have enough staff. So the back part of the restaurant of sales, I was a server. I served the whole back of the restaurant, not by choice. It's just there was not enough staff. Mm-hmm. So me as a manager, I was a manager, and I was a sommelier on the floor, and I was a server. Mm-hmm. No one still in the team understands how I have done it. Mental pressure. I would never wish this to anyone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when you're against the wall, you don't have a choice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why were you against the wall at that moment?
In that moment. So business is rolling, has to bring a certain revenue in the season. I want every guest to have the highest level of experience. And you just don't have the team. You're imagine you're in the car, and you have the engine, and you are the engine, but other parts are not moving, or moving really slow.
Yeah.
Transmission, differential, just moving. Your gears are off. Mm-hmm. Or you're on a bicycle and you're spinning super hard, and your bicycle is not moving.
Mm-hmm. Were you running thin margins at that moment, to the point that, because I had a friend also, because from the outside it's easier to just say, why don't you hire and train more people, right? But then at the same time,
the outside, yes.
Yeah, you have to, maybe you have your concept where you want it to be, but in order for it to run the right way, you need a lot more people, but you have to control your numbers as well. So it's a very tricky game.
Biggest challenge is why I worked the station in those two first the seasons. We kept advertising but I was in charge of interviewing and I could not get the right people. I would rather do more work myself than bring someone who will jeopardize the experience of the guest. And someone who is not luxury hospitality, they would say, come on, so many people, are applying, looking for jobs. Why you cannot train them? Just they have to see what we see, and they have to have that level of clarity, and they have to love luxury hospitality and dine in the luxury hospitality themselves. So how we serve our guests is the way we want to be served.
Do you think it also matters, like, at what stage on their life that person is before they do something for somebody else? Meaning, before you hire someone that can see the vision and also what you see, does that person need to be in a certain spot in their life to be able to serve others the way you do?
Yes, have to have a certain background, have to have certain abilities, certain desire to improve, have to have initiative, so many things. Currently, we have between 40 to 60 applicants a day.
How many employees do you have?
So we're about 140.
140?
Just in sales?
Sales and butcher prep.
Yeah, because I like the word you used, clarity, instead of saying experience, because it's different to tell somebody you have no experience and that you don't have clarity, right? It's an elegant word to pretty much say the same thing.
But with us, experience is not most important. We can teach someone that has a high level of clarity and that wants to improve and he wants to make high level results. We can teach him.
Yeah.
But if someone has knowledge and he does not have clarity,
Right. Almost like you say sometimes that it's better to be available most of the times than to have experience, because a lot of times some people have experience but they're never available. Just as you say that, I think that's
Yeah.
I would say clarity very important, but the second one, high level integrity. High level integrity.
Integrity?
So important, integrity.
Yeah.
So important. The second one, because in the beginning we had some individuals that had low level integrity, drinking behind the bar, giving drinks away.
Are you easy to let somebody go, or is that difficult for you to do?
So easy.
Well, I ask because sometimes that's a weakness in some people that it's hard
You need to have, as a restaurateur, you need to have a rhino skin. Because if you're emotional, and it's a challenge also. So you say, we talk about the rhino skin, but we talk also that the restaurateur has to be an artist, which are two opposites.
Yeah.
Rhino skin means analytical.
Right.
Practical.
Yes. And to be a restaurateur, you have to be an artist. To be an artist, you need to have a soft skin.
And I think what ties those two things together is awareness. Having a high level of self-awareness, like when to be which one, in what moment. And this is a super interesting conversation. I feel that in business, it just depends the cards that the individual is dealt. That the decisions that they make, like what vehicle, what business they decide to go into, how much of their years of their life they can give to something that may not work, I think ultimately goes back to the initial cards that you got when you first entered the game. Meaning, I think that people that, let's say you don't come from money and you're trying to make a change in your family, in the family that you're going to build, to be financially stable, I think knowing what vehicle you're choosing is very important, because you don't have the years, let's say, to waste as somebody that financially is stable, right? Growing up, and if the business worked or it doesn't, it's okay. It won't hurt them in the, you know,
They can fund mistakes.
yeah, it won't hurt their pocket. It may be their ego because they have to close the business, but they can afford to
Open and close.
yeah, open and close. The reason why I say this is because I think I learned that, I know we learned that in the food industry was, man, this is such a, if we knew what we knew prior to going in with the system in the States regarding the food industry, then probably we would choose a different vehicle, because you're competing against, like, the statistics of a food business. I think not, like 80%, 90% close in first 3 years.
90+%, yes.
10 in 10 years they break even. So it's almost like if I was to give you a test and say you have a 90% chance of failing this test, then I would probably be like, I don't know, then maybe I don't take, maybe give me another test that I have a much better chance of getting right. Of course, you learn things throughout that business, but it just teaches you that everybody's playing the game so different, because then we came across businesses in the food industry that they had financial backing, and that bought them those years of getting it right or wrong. Let's say they had 5-10 years of getting it right or wrong because they have this financial backing. It just made us see, like, wow, like the type of vehicle that you decide to go into in business matters so much to your success, especially if you're coming from no money or no backing. So I just think it's very, very interesting sharing that with somebody that maybe doesn't know that, or maybe is thinking about opening up a business. Because I think what trends online right now is you open up a business and you're going to be successful right away.
Very low chance.
Yeah.
Very low chance. 57 restaurants closed in Naples in the month of June.
See, that's
a
That's
lot.
somebody's livelihood, that's somebody's retirement, that someone put everything that they have in that business.
yeah. The whole, sometimes the whole family sometimes.
Whole family.
And then they compete against somebody that makes money in a different in a different industry, that they're just like, this is the for fun business, let's just put money here.
Or model that really works is that individuals that have platforms, when they're opening a new restaurant, new locations, everything is funded by investors. The platform is not investing anything. Let's say build out 7-8 million. You have maybe 1 dozen of investors, and then everyone is investing, and you have no investment risk on your side. You have a platform, a proven track record. So that's one model that I have seen that has been utilized a lot by the largest size restaurateurs with a name. Let's say
The private equity.
five locations, 50 locations. There's a few of the new ones in Naples that all operate exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
All raising money
Yeah. Raising money.
from the investors on that location and giving them certain equity for that investment.
Yeah. And then they make it better, and then they sell it to somebody else, to another group of investors.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
So going a little bit from progressing and you guys opening up, I know maybe you can't say too much about it, but Butcher Private, I think that when you guys opened that, I started seeing a lot of places going to private memberships and thinking that that's the route to go in. But I think this is kind of my idea behind how you guys, or why you guys did Butcher Private is, I think that sales was like the place where you developed the years of excellent service and attention to detail and all these things. And then that was a great stepping stone to going into what you did regarding opening up Butcher Private.
So our dream was to go into the next level, to go into the level from Michelin 2-star and Michelin 3-star, extremely challenging. To operate something Michelin 3-star, impeccable service, product excellence, one of the best chefs in the world, and make it profitable, extremely challenging, if not impossible. In the same time, we listen our regulars, and then they share with us what are they interested in. So we just really gave into the market what our guest, our consumer was interested in. And it's so interesting, when we started with that concept, I did not really see where the most of the value will come from for the member. Originally, I was thinking that most value will come from impeccable service, product excellence, being able that they can bring the friends and their colleagues and organize the events and join the events and have these experiences. And all of that does bring value, but the number one thing that brings the value that I never thought about is who is in the club. That's really the highest level of value, because anyone who is in the world of business, you're really in a lonely place. And to be around more individuals that they're also in a lonely place, and they've been grinding for so many years, and for them to meet, to have a one place, one space where everyone is alike, so difficult. And that's the biggest value that we bring.
Do you have friends or connections?
I have lots of connections.
I asked you once, kind of the same question Joanna asked you, that wow, to have the level of members that you have at Butcher Private, it must be very difficult to keep things in line, or the pressure of constant pressure.
So it's also very important that someone in my role understands that my job is to serve. And in my sector, 3 things that the best always fail. It's 3 things. I think we spoke about that already. 3 L's. 3 L's.
Yeah, that's sunk in right here for me.
The best have failed, and it's so easy in my sector because, like, you're in a service. Last 3 weeks, knocking wood, sales restaurant, we're receiving all 5-star reviews. You know how difficult is that, especially the price point that we're pushing.
Yeah.
So expectations to the roof, and we're getting 5-star, 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 5-star. So these things also, if you're not stable, it can get in your head. So easy, you can say, oh, I'm so good. I got amazing this second. I'm so.
Yeah.
Well, you are.
No. It's not me. It's a dream team and the best guest in the world.
Yeah.
And you can never, number one challenge that the business individuals or restaurateurs make a mistake, that they forget where they're coming from, and they are not grounded anymore. Grounded and grateful. So important.
Do you ever feel like you're good at something without trying to be good at it?
I don't have nothing that I'm not good at. Just I have to work on everything.
But is there something maybe that you just come off good at without putting, just very natural?
I think naturally is I love to be around people, and I'm a very social individual, and it's very natural to me to make others feel good and make them feel special.
That's where I wanted to get. Yeah.
I don't have to try. I just that's in my gene, it's in my DNA, and I don't do it. I serve others the way I want to be served. So it's not forced, it's not faked. I just do it exactly how I feel, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because I love in my life that I have an opportunity to give. Because when I give, it makes me feel good. When I serve, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's very interesting, right?
2 most important things in my life is, because I studied this a lot, I think about what's the really core in my life. 2 things. One is giving, and other one is growing. And it's so interesting. Used to be in my 20s and early 30s was about growing myself. Now it gives me higher level of pleasure when I see someone else around me growing. When I help them grow, such a good feeling. So my life is all about the giving and growing.
Can you grow if you don't give?
So interesting. Can you receive if you're closed? I think to receive, you need to be open. Because when you're open to give, that's when you can receive.
Yeah. It's very
What do
interesting.
you think about that? I mean, you've been in the business.
It's
You
interesting.
see so many individuals, and going back into the point of the wealthy individuals, the ones who made it themselves, the ones who really build the teams, the ones who build the organizations, the ones who are founders, are usually so giving because that's what does it take.
Yeah. We've noticed that. I've picked up on that it's interesting because sometimes we'll have a meeting with somebody and that person is, at business-wise at a way different level. And when they leave the meeting, they're the ones saying, let me know how I can help in any way. But I feel like they already understand that by just offering that way, I think everything's an energy exchange.
Yes.
So the type of energy you put out is the same exact energy you're going to be receiving. And I think that's almost like a life hack, is if you understand that you want to give or be of service to somebody, but coming from a genuine place, that same energy will come back. It's almost like doors open, opportunities open when you start going into getting into that habit, because I think it's something that you have to work on every single day. We've noticed that in this business that we're in, we meet with a lot of business owners, and it's interesting because the ones that are playing at a higher level are always the ones that are, please tell me how we can help or how I can help you in any way. Always.
And it's so interesting, going back into luxury hospitality, why we're so lucky that went into luxury hospitality, because luxury hospitality is really expensive for the user. And the ones who can afford are the ones who build the businesses and the ones to higher levels. And that really put us on a pedestal because our users, our guests are the ones who are high performance, individuals. And that's why I love my guests. They're the best guests in the world.
Yeah. Moving forward a little bit to upcoming goals or businesses, projects. Is there anything in the works?
Yeah, so many things in the works. So one of my big responsibilities is to operate in the moment, but also operate in the future. So like right now with everything that I'm doing, like interviews and everything, we're already organizing events, November, December, January, February. So we are always working now for the future. So that's one big thing. But also my responsibility is to prepare the space for where the troops are going to be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So my big responsibility is to work on the upcoming projects or something. Now, in our sector, it's so easy when when you're a good operator is to go in someone else's spaces. So we get offers from hotel owners, developers, from Vegas to Fort Lauderdale to Miami, country club owners, is to go and operate their spaces and bring what we have. And that would not be, we could grow so fast, but that would not be best strategic way of growing. So what we're doing right now, we're only looking strategically what commercial real estate we can buy, purchase, and then operate. Because for the restaurateur, that's a holy grail. All of us, we have a shelf life, an expiration time. even the best ones, 20, 25 years. And what happens after 25 years, we have a lease that doesn't have an option of renewal. And you work for these 20, 25 years, 30 years, and all of a sudden you get replaced.
Right.
So I have seen this too much, and we are not interested in going into that game. That's why we're only interested in acquiring commercial real estate. When our building that sales is in was traded recently, about a year ago, just from natural break point, we increased the value of the building $8 million.
Wow.
That's not the base rent. That's just that extra from the natural break point.
Wow. Any concepts?
So we do have, we're working right now on a concept number 3 and 4. So we feel that Naples needs an omakase concept. So a year ago we started omakase, as you know, the Butcher Private. And that idea really brought a lot of attention. And we have an amazing team that can execute on the highest level. So that's the concept that we have been working on. And that will be opening by end of November. And then
wow.
This year?
This year?
This year.
Wow. Can we know the name or?
So yes, that's called Omasawa, like omakase.
Omasawa?
Omasawa, because it's next by sawa. And sawa is that concept between omakase concept and sales. That will be a French farmhouse. Named Sava is big, multiple reasons. So number one of the largest rivers in Europe is called Sava. There's a saint in the Orthodox Christian church that's called Saint Sava. And the most important is my grandma's name was Sava.
Oh, wow.
So we're opening a restaurant for her. It will all feel inside and look like her house that was built 100 years ago. All in stone inside.
Wow.
Reclaim wooden beams above, all the glassware, all the plates, all the flatware will be what was used 100 years ago.
And this is opening in November?
That will open by May.
By May?
Sava, yes.
Okay.
Because that's a little bit of the bigger project.
Sava.
What's
And
the other one?
And the other one's Omakase.
Omasawa.
Omasawa?
Omasawa,
Are
yes.
they both restaurants?
Restaurants, yes. Concepts.
Here in Naples?
Right by sales. So if you're going...
So that's why the papers are on the window.
Exactly. When you start from the Fifth Avenue off the beach side, first restaurant that you have is Sales, and the second one is Sava, and the third one will be Omasawa.
Oh, two of them?
Okay.
Right next to each other.
Yes.
Wow, so you're going to have 3 back to back to back?
Yes.
You're taking over Fifth Avenue.
Upstairs.
So one is Sava, one is Omasawa.
Yes.
Wow. Is this
Is there
are
gonna
we
be
breaking
brunch?
news right here?
We're always breaking news.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And we get asked, because we had the opportunity to, go and visit the butcher a couple times, and I mean, we just say that it's an amazing place. But if someone, just anybody will ask you, what's the butcher? How do you explain it?
So 6 concepts under one roof. It's a space that's built for accomplished high performance individuals to experience the highest level of impeccable service and product excellence that's available anywhere in Florida.
And if they ask you, how can they join?
I always share with everyone that the best way to join is to apply via a website. So if you go to butcherprivate.com, you can fill an application.
And you interview the member?
I'm one of the one of the individuals on the board that's interviewing.
Nice.
Man, this is so cool, right? That you're opening up 2 more concepts,
Yeah.
right?
What kind of food is it?
In one of the toughest economies in the last decade.
And all are going to be on 5th.
Yes.
Wow. Is Sava? So omakase is a steak. Omasawa is steak.
That would be an omakase. Omakase is a Japanese Japanese food. So think about like a sushi, sashimi, nigiri.
Okay.
It's organized in the multi-course experience. So in our instance, we do 24 courses, one bite food.
Okay.
Our goal with that concept is we're expecting in the next year and a half inspection of Michelin. So that concept would be 2, maybe 3 Michelin star.
Wow.
Have you considered opening a Peruvian restaurant?
Don't know much about cuisine, but some amazing. You and I just spoke about that. Some amazing restaurants in Lima.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to take a trip.
Yes, that would be fun. Fun to go with 4 of you to Lima. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Corinne would be on board with that. I'm sure it would be so much different going with you over there in Lima than just going by yourself because you know all the spots and everything. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We'll plan it.
Yeah.
Just travel, with the locals. That's the best.
Is there anything that, wrapping up, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to mention, or just anything in general?
I would love to speak more about the business and what does it take, and to touch a little bit on, we touched briefly on starting the business versus buying the business. Anyone younger who is asking me, everyone is thinking of these lemonade stands and building the business and next greatest idea and thing, and I tell them, no. How about you study the sectors, you learn more about yourself, you see what you like, and then you find a business that you can work in. That the founder is involved and the founder is obsessed with the business and making it better. That means it's in the business, works in the business, 100 hours a week. It's really grinding. I would recommend this to everyone because that way you get a chance to learn firsthand from someone who is mastering something, who has mastered something, or who is working on the team to master. And that way, you're approaching that from the safe spot. You don't have any investments.
Yeah.
And then once you learn from someone like that, then you have an opportunity to ask them, are you interested that we grow this? And growth is easiest through execution and acquisition. So that person already has this stability. It would be the best to invest with them in project number 2.
So you're saying don't worry about being number 1 in a business. Be number 2, 3, or maybe even 4 in the business.
Find the right founder that's involved in a business that's focused on excellence. It can be any sector.
You service a lot of clients. You get to have a conversation with people in different industries. What would be, if you had to name your top 3 industries right now, if you weren't doing what you're doing today, that you would go into?
Very good question. Yes. It's also important how what you know about yourself. Like myself, I get along the best with the private equity because they're the ones that are operators of the businesses and they're super creative to find the ways how to buy, acquire, grow. So like some of the most meaningful relationships I have is with the private equity or with the family offices that operate, as a private equity. What I have seen that creates the highest level of results as a number 2 is the insurance business. So what would I do if I'm 17? I would train myself. I love math. And I would train myself to get into the insurance business because it's a recurring revenue. And a GP is huge, 40%, 50%, 60%. So I would go in, that would be a number 2. And then a number 3, I would go in some sector that's involving the government spending, because I've seen that these go in super high level GP. So if there would be a sector or something that I have an interest in that's providing service for the government, that would be number 3. As you see, I have not mentioned restaurants.
Right.
Well, if you get involved in those industries, then you can get involved into restaurants if you want.
The restaurant, if anyone as investor would be interested in getting involved in a restaurant, the only thing what I would advise them in on the luxury segment, and the most important part of the restaurant is who are the guests, which is relationships and profiles. And how many restaurants do you know that keep profiles on the guest, on all the guests that have dined and research and all the preferences?
That's what I
and
was
know
going to
who they
ask
are,
you,
and yes.
because they remember everything from your last
Yeah,
visit.
that's
We don't
impressive.
remember anything.
We don't.
We don't remember everything. Everything is in profiles. So we have profiles for all four of you.
But even like the conversation that they have with us,
Everything is documented.
Yeah.
really.
So like after they leave your
That's scary.
table, do they go and like make notes?
At the end of the day, usually myself, I document everything throughout the whole day. Anytime when I'm on the floor, we pretty much, for us, the data is the most important. Sales restaurant will never have as much value as a restaurant as the data that we have and collect on the guest. And it's nothing to be freaky, it's to serve the guest better.
Yeah.
How good does it feel
Freaky.
when you have someone who's coming in with you and they're in town first time, maybe visiting from Lima, and you get greeted as you're the owner of sales.
Yeah. So what's in my profile?
All your preferences.
I have a question.
Yes, how good is it when you get seated and we don't ask you what kind of water, we just pour.
Oh,
we don't ask
yeah.
you what kind of citrus, we just pour.
With the
I
coffee.
forget the
coffee
gentleman's name, but
What kind of drink you like, we just pour. And we know the names of your kids and the birthdays of the kids and your birthday, your anniversary, and names of your parents and your parents. Magically, we just know
Wow.
everything.
Yeah. But it really does make the experience very different, and it plays a psychological.
Share with us how does it feel different? How does it feel? Because as you dine at sales, we gather more information and more things.
It makes you
share-
feel special.
So share with us
Super
how
special.
have you felt, and how have you felt the change, four of you, over the last 4 years?
I think
Dining at sales.
I think it plays a very big role in the decision making of where you're going to dine out, because there's so many options available to people, and there's so many. Obviously, every option is different, right? Some places you go because you want a quick meal, the price point, right? But then when you think about where you're going to have a good time and check off as many boxes, like the food is great, you're going to have a great time, and especially if you're going to bring a guest or bring somebody out, whether that's family, friends, business meeting, I think that's where sales rings very hard in somebody's mind compared to other restaurants, because all the staff knowing and having that personal relationship with the guest is what I think about when we're gonna go like brunch. Before sales, I didn't do brunch really. I didn't, right? I just
Yeah.
I either called it
Nothing
lunch,
special about it.
breakfast or lunch. But then now when we did sales brunch, it messed me up because I can't, during that time frame, that 11 to 1, I can't go anywhere else, because and when we do, I'm like, it's good, but it's just, and that is what I think stays in people's minds, is the attention to detail that you get the whole way through, not just from the service, but the same attention to detail in the service, you can see it on the plate as well, with all the with everything. So I think for me, that's a huge advantage that sales has over majority of places. And I also think it takes a person being in a certain place to acknowledge it and really appreciate it. Is what I think.
You build the businesses in the past. What do you see about the sales that's special?
Going back to what he was saying, I think it comes down to what relates to you, and to me, psychology on everything is very important. and I think you apply a lot of things, a lot of psychology on what you do and everything you do. To me, the food is it's amazing. I think you guys do an amazing job when it comes to that. But I try to see a little bit more than food, like the way because I have this conversation a lot with my family, and I feel like sometimes there is like not a lot of people admit that they like to be recognized. You know, I've heard many times, oh, I'm just gonna keep myself on the low, or I don't care about recognition. But to me, from a general angle, I think it's a complete lie. You just don't want to admit it. So I think one of the things that you do at sales is that you recognize everybody. And I feel like that's what makes people, besides food, go back. Because they bring somebody else, and it's going to go back into what we once spoke about at the butcher, inside the butcher, that I remember when I said, do you do marketing? And you said, I don't care about marketing. But in my head is the way you tour me around your place, you're doing marketing. So, and you're using psychology and how to not play with my brain, but understand what I like. So I feel like once you connect with people and you just stay quiet for a second and see how they talk, see how they sit, see how they look at you, you can understand how to approach. And that's what I really like about sales, that it doesn't just come from you, it comes from your team. And I know how hard it is to achieve that. Because I've been in the food industry, not at that type of a level when it comes to serving people, but you still have to be on top of people. And the fact that it just runs by itself, or you make it seem like it runs by itself, that's what I appreciate about what you do. And from both of your places, because I've seen the same thing on both, even at the entrance, right? How they open the door, how they bring you the drinks, how they remember how many people you have in your party by name. So those things are the most important thing for me. I don't see it. I've been to different places. I had different foods. I love my Peruvian food in different places, but I've never seen that type of service around. Or if I've seen it, I mean, you can count it with your hands, you know? So that's what I appreciate about sales, and that's what I always talk about.
And I see a really good point you brought up, and I see that restaurant is really about the three pieces. So it's about the food, it's about the service, and it's about the ambiance. But the one part, so the ambiance, you can invest, can get the best of the architects, best of these designers, best materials, best finishes, best craftsmen, so that you can purchase.
Yeah.
Food part, if you invest and you find the right individual that has ability to create and manage the team, that's also doable, because it does not touch the guest except through one channel. And that one channel, that team touches the guest into channel the food or what's on the plate. So that can be managed and checked. With service, we have, so Forbes requires 85 steps of service. We have 126. So with the step of service, you can detail the experience of the guest so it comes out flawless and smooth. But the one part that no one is focusing on, and that's the one that's the most challenging, is the hospitality. Because hospitality is how you make someone feel.
Yeah.
That has been the most challenging for us to assemble.
Yeah.
Hospitality.
Yeah,
How we
because
make
sometimes
people feel.
you like a restaurant and you like the food, you like the ambience and everything, but the service is not good. So you double think it. Should I go there? You know, because you don't have a good experience. But that's why Rodrigo says that sales checks all the boxes, especially for a special occasion. They make you feel super special. I mean, having your name in the menu.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Where can you find that? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see what we just spoke about? So many moving parts.
Right.
Just to get that personalized a name on the menu printed, that's a one-size-fits-one bespoke experience. To create bespoke now in the era that everyone wants to do exactly opposite, wants to do one-size-fits-all, we do exactly opposite from that one-size-fits-one. So if you would ask me at a sales restaurant what we did good from the beginning and what really made the difference, we always focus on that one guest. And then we always listen to that one guest. And then we listen, how is that in alignment with our business plan, with where we want to be, and then we improved. And then we improve. So if we go back into why is this country the greatest country in the world, is really because, the capitalism. And someone can say capitalism, not the best system, not this, not that, but capitalism is the best system that works. So that's number one. Number two is capitalism makes everyone who runs the business, who is the founder of the business, who is in the business, is to squeeze that knob a little bit harder every single day. And you know what's the good news for you run the business? It's never enough, because next morning you wake up and that knob, you just figure it out, you can squeeze it a little bit more. So with us, like with me, I work 7 days a week because my knobs, there's so many knobs. And I can always squeeze the knob a little bit more. And that's why this country is the best country in the world, because it allows the kid from the village in Montenegro mountains like myself, that I can push and I can do right things in a long term. I can build something that's more of the legacy of my team, bigger than I could ever be as one.
What keeps your team motivated? What keeps them motivated to keep performing?
That's number one for us on our level is the guest.
The guest.
The guest. We just love to create special experiences for the guest. And when any one of us hears this, like how much you love sales, that's for us. That's our sport. So when you share this with us, it's like giving me the gold medal, because we're an Olympian. No one normal in their head would ever do what we do 7 days a week. 7 days a week, constantly better, pushing harder, next level. That's an Olympian mindset.
And why would I want to? So the guest, right, is what keeps the team motivated. Is that how it gets presented to the team? Is make sure that the guest experience is.
We are above that. That was presented like that 7 years ago, but now we're so many levels above.
Yeah. So what does that look like? The level that you guys are at now. How do you present that?
So what is now about the team? For us, our service and excellence in what we do is about the pride. So it's the highest level of honor to serve and be that team that everyone in the state of Florida knows about us. For us, is the highest level of honor. So once you feel that, the honor, you never work for anything else. We don't work for gold. So many of the other owners of the restaurants have approached our managers and asked them, I give you this, I give you that. Psst, does not work, because we don't work for gold. We work for honor.
Now, okay. But they have to be around there, right?
Have to be
Like the honor also. How can I say this?
In
I don't know.
in a short term, you have to make money to be able to run a business.
yes.
Like, because usually majority of people are, incentivized or right? Like if somebody comes to a manager of yours and they're like, hey, we're going to
So
double
that's a
it.
secondary.
Secondary,
First,
okay.
Yes, secondary.
Okay,
First,
okay.
once you're in a luxury segment, our team is compensated better than anyone else in anywhere else in Southwest Florida. Our team is one of the highest compensated in the state of Florida.
Yeah, so you guys
And I'm
check.
proud of that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I know everything.
Yeah.
Who makes what restaurants, what hotels, how much is the executive chef paid, or which hotel, how is the everything. Study that.
So you have to check that box in order. Do you think you have to check that box in order
For your
for the-
standard
for
to be
the-
very high?
Yeah, for their standard, the employees.
I think you have to but that's a secondary.
Yeah.
They need to feel as they're well compensated and they're valued. So it's all about the value. It's not really about the number. It's about the value. And then the next thing that we're building out now is is documentation, where our members of the management team are going to have an opportunity to invest in upcoming projects.
No, it's very cool.
Be an equal investor with us.
That leads me into a question that I've had on my mind that I wanted to ask you. What do you think about business-wise partnerships in business? The reason why I ask is because you mentioned earlier in the conversation that growing up, you're taught that money is bad. You see a car and a guy in a nice car, and the family says it's drug dealer.
Yes, that's about growth. Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, and then the same thing happens also in partnerships, coming from that type of mindset that the family's like, no, be careful partnering with that person because you don't know them, or you don't know that it might fall out. Like it's always, not always, but certain mindsets go that direction, maybe because of fear or whatever, or past experience or whatever the case may be. But what do you think about partnerships in business?
Yeah, so I would like to ask you too, what do you think about the marriage?
Marriage,
Yes.
in like
In business?
like
Oh,
with,
just
Oh, just marriage?
yes. What do you think about the marriage?
you want to go first, or I'll go first?
You can go first.
Me. I think it's the best thing that I think that you can't. It's hard to build a business when you can't build a home. So I feel like if you build a home, you're gonna have high chances of being able to build anything that you want. Having someone that you really trust next to you, I think it puts you in advantage. I think marriage, it's consistent work. I think you can't see results without looking at the work that's put into that result, and it's not simple. Like we met each other very young. We were 15, both of us, and we've learned together. Really good things, bad things, experiences. Grew up together, spiritually and mentally, and but we do know, because we talk about this a lot, is that together we can do whatever we want. Whatever we want to do, when we do it together, I think we get there. And marriage, going back kind of, which I think that's why you asked that question. When it comes to a partnership, I think that when you have to be able to read in advance, I think that's a skill. When you can smell something from far away, I think it's experience gives you that. Years give you that. But at the end of the day, you still have to experience things, because no matter how good the person is, when you meet that person, you're not gonna know that person at the beginning. You're gonna need you need time to get to know someone, and at the end, you find out that you don't know that person, because you're never gonna get to know someone 100%. You're just gonna know about that person every single day. You're gonna learn something new, because that person is a human being, and it's going to change, and their mentality is going to change. And it's the same thing with partnerships. Not everybody is on the same position throughout life, and not everybody wants the same things. So we're so different that we have to learn how to succeed together. That's what I think about marriage, and that's what I compare it to when it comes to partnerships.
How about you?
Well, you pretty much covered everything, but yeah, I feel like it's just like comparing it to partnerships. You have to really trust that person, and it's a full-time job because I feel like you never know the person 100%, and every day you learn something new. So you just have to put in the work so that the marriage can be successful, and treat obviously that person that you care like you want to be treated as well. Always with respect, communication 100%, and same in the business, because working together, we always wanted more time together. When he was in the food industry, you know how it is.
Yes.
Putting so many hours and everything, we weren't together as much. And now we're together all day, which is what you and Karine experienced as well. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. But a lot of partners and they don't know and they don't value that. So same as with a partner, it's like we're married to each other because you're together, all day, and you have to learn what the other person likes or does not like and respect it. So I feel like it is kind of a partnership is like a marriage as well.
So important is to know that other individual really well.
Yes.
Which brings me into, if I could go back to advise 16, 17-year-old myself, what are the two things that I should invest the most time in to work on myself, to create a higher level of chance of performance of the business and myself in the business? There's two things. Number one, communication skills. Number two, interview skills. Being able to interview someone and have these right questions to find out what is core of them. So important. And what I have done over the last 6-7 years, I have interviewed some of the most high performance people on planet Earth. And that really has been the biggest power for me, because while I was interviewing them as well, I would always ask them in interview process, what are the best questions that you ask that really get into the core of individual? And the questions that I got, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So I still work on that communication skills, which clearly tremendously is important. I have this scar that I lived with, I grew up with, that most of my life I was thinking it's a handicap that actually turned into a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
I have two questions for you. My first question is, you've mentioned what you would say to 16 or 17-year-old yourself. But if we fast forward time, and let's say Veljko at 70, what?
No, I'm already at 95. So I have exactly planned when I'm 95, what I do and where I'm at.
Okay. What does that look like? But then also to piggyback off of that, what that looks like when you're 95. What would you look at yourself and say, I did it, like I was successful? What would in your mind, somebody that's of that age, what boxes did they have to check to be successful in their lifetime?
Yes. So 95 years old. I love warm climate and I love water. So definitely somewhere close by the water. I love drinking vintage champagne. So definitely a glass of champagne because I drink champagne only when it's my birthday and when it's not.
Same here.
Yes. So that's me thinking back. How have I impacted humanity, and what's my legacy? My legacy will be measured by number of the lives that I have touched and how I helped them get faster where they want to go. Mm-hmm. That's really my life.
Yeah.
So next 50 years, really nothing about me, all about others.
Mm-hmm. The next 50.
Next 50.
And this is my last question. If I know you as well as you know yourself, what question should I ask you?
That's a good question. You've been listening. You're listening to my interview questions. Very good question.
That question, when you asked me,
Yes.
I swear that for
I was
the next...
thinking for like 3 days.
No, like 3 months. I couldn't stop thinking about that question because
Did you ever come up with your
I
question?
didn't. Yeah, I had an answer for it. I'll share it off camera.
So yes, so you should share that because I'm the first one that ask you that question. If I know you as good as you know yourself, what should we ask
You know, I did come up with an answer to that, but I was very in like deep thought about that, trying to think about the different answers that I can answer to that, but what would make sense for me. And I swear that I was in such deep thought that I know I came up with the answer. I don't have it right now. I have to think deep, seriously, because that question, at least for me, the angle that I took to it was like I try to dissect every single part of that question, and I came up with the answer, but I honestly swear I don't have it right now. I have to think hard about it. I should have wrote it down.
Yes. So for me, really, it's about what subject are we speaking about, and with me, I always seek through the question to get to share the core of someone and who they are. So question that I would like to form is your age 7 to 10, things that you have done, how have they impacted what you are now? That would be the question. Yes, because I love learning about everyone who I connect with. I love learning about where were they at age 7 to 10.
Wow, that's a really great question, actually. That's
And
like a crucial age gap, I feel like.
Yes, the most important is that 7 to 10. And when they honestly share with you what were they doing, who was around them, what were they thinking about, what were they creating, that became the core of them. That became really a nucleus or talent, number one, what they have. And I love this question because it tells me so much about the individual and how our organization can give them value, how our organization, our culture can serve them better in their talents.
That's very interesting to think about, actually. Yeah.
It reminded me actually from 7 to 10 years old. I remember my dad had a big bakery in Peru, and he had all kinds of candy. Right? You just literally reminded me of that. And in that place that he had the bakery, it was a beach, but the people that lived there didn't have much money, right? The people that live in that town. And I remember that at that moment we had it felt like we had everything. And I will grab candy even though it was bad for my dad because he was in business, right? But I will grab candy, and my mentality was always to like share with these kids what I had. So it was always like okay, this is what I have. How can everybody else have it? So I don't know why, but you just reminded me that. I know it was bad for on the business side, but I was always thinking, how
you were always finding a way how you can give others.
Yeah, but how can others experience what I experienced?
Yes. Why is that? What do you think? Because you wanted to share with others the feeling that you have?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. And up until this...
You're like that. You're literally like that
right now.
is something that...
He's like that.
Every time I experience something, I want others to experience it because it fulfills me more to see them enjoying than me enjoying. Because I almost feel like I don't get impressed by many things. I appreciate it, but I can see other people getting like, oh my God, this is something that I always wanted to do or I always wanted to have, and that brings me joy.
See, that gives the answer. Who is in our team? All the individuals in our team are like you. We receive the highest level of pleasure to create experiences for others.
And that's why we take everyone to sales.
Oh yeah, that's actually
we're always like when we're talking with a family member or with a client that comes or anyone, we're like, we're going to sales because we know.
So now brings us into Butcher Private. These individuals are just like you, all of their life, and now they're in position that they can gift individuals around them something of a highest level, and that's why they love being members.
Yeah. Do you think there's a strange double-edged sword between when you are, let's say, climbing that mountain to get to where you want to get to, whatever that idea of success is in that business or just in general, to convince the ones closest to you that the path you're on, the reason why you're on it, is something that they should also embrace or get on too, right? Like, I think that when you are coming from, let's say, financially, not a strong financial background in the family, and you're that person that's trying to get to the top of that hill to see what's on that other side, I think that the climb that way, during that time, it's hard to, your words don't weigh. I'm assuming your words don't weigh as heavy as they will once you get there to those nearest to you, because they don't see it yet, right? I think that's always a double-edged sword.
No, very good.
I think it's just a double-edged sword.
And I thought about that a lot, and the most important is actually first, the person that needs to believe in you, it needs to trust you, it needs to see you succeeding and getting there where you're heading and where you have envisioned that you can be, is you. And that's the hardest. Mm-hmm. So what I advise everyone is to start with the small wins. Not go after the big win, get that elephant, chop it into pieces, and then eat one bite. Once you get that one bite, you gain more confidence. You gain more of the discipline. Wake up in the morning, make the bed. Wake up in the morning, check the email. Check the messages. Follow through. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. After you graduate that 1 year, just think about that's a multiple. If you push it, you can push easy every day. 10 hours. 365 days times 10, that's 3,650 hours in a year. Mm-hmm. So that's my mindset, one bite at a time, and get these winnings, because once you win, you will have more confidence and more belief in yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest one. Once you believe in yourself, then you just need one more person that needs to, just like you believe in yourself, you need one more person to believe in you.
Yeah.
And then one more, and then one more, and then one more. And when everyone is marching in the same direction, one day, you say, weight is off of my shoulders. But only feels like that. Because as you are marching the first ahead of everyone, you are actually carrying a cross. And the bigger the group becomes, your cross is heavier. And cross is not just wanted. Cross is only given to the ones who can carry it. So it's an honor and pride, but it's also a gift. But it's extremely heavy. And more you climb, and more you build a bigger community, the cross becomes heavier. Everyone is thinking, watching these YouTube videos, they take a picture next to the plane, next to this, next to that, right away. I'm thinking, this guy's got big pressure. Big pressure of the heavy cross.
Yeah.
So think about the size of the cross of Elon Musk. Size of that cross that he carries every day.
Yeah.
Champion, business Olympian. Gold medal finalist.
Yeah. That's
Heavy
great.
cross.
Yeah. No.
We every time that we that we talk to Veljko, we can talk for hours, and we have to go
grateful.
because of time, and we really appreciate it. We're grateful about the friendship connection and anything that we do together, and we appreciate your time a lot, and thank you for sharing this information with us, with the one or two that get to watch the podcast. And if you wanted to
Just the same thing. Just want to say thank you for taking the time to have a conversation with us. Like always, I feel like taking a lot of wisdom and knowledge when we have conversations. So just want to say that we appreciate you and appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. I know we scheduled this meeting about 4 weeks ago, and I think always about the future. In 100 years from now, when someone of our children, grandchildren, their grandchildren is watching this podcast, have we given them enough value and have we mentored them so they can have more clarity and more success? That's our number one goal, because when I stand here, I stand for the 10,000 that laid their lives for me. I wish I could know more about them.
No, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
it.
Thank you.